I never expected a few simple words to make our home feel smaller than it ever had before. My name is Ethan, and I've been married to Mira for almost a decade. When we first met, she had a laugh bright enough to soften even the heaviest day. She carried a warmth that drew me in instantly. I was the opposite. Quiet, organized, always thinking ahead, always trying to create stability for both of us. She once told me she admired how I steadied her, how I kept the storms of life from reaching us. Back then I believed that what I offered, my calm, my effort, my devotion, was enough. The early years felt effortless. We were excited about everything. Small errands felt like dates, late-night conversations lasted until we were too tired to talk, even silence felt intimate. We weren't the flashy type of couple, but we were deeply connected. Then real life crept in. Work deadlines, bills, obligations, unexpected emergencies. None of it came at once, but together they slowly wore at the lightness we used to share. I knew this happened to most couples, and I thought we'd navigate it like we always had, together. I was wrong. It began subtly. A sigh at the wrong moment. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. When I came home, the cheerful expression Mira once saved just for me became something polite, almost practiced. I'd cook dinner and she'd scroll through her phone, barely tasting the food. When I talked, she'd nod absently, drifting somewhere far away from me. I made excuses for her. Pressure at work, exhaustion, maybe she wasn't feeling well. Anything but the possibility that the distance had something to do with me. Then came the night everything changed. I made her favorite meal, filled the house with her favorite scents, and set the table the way she always liked. I thought maybe it would bring back a glimpse of us. Instead, she looked at me tiredly and said, "Ethan, I don't think I'm happy with you anymore. It feels like nothing you do really matters." The air seemed to disappear. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe. Anger didn't come first. And it wasn't sadness either. It was pure disbelief. How had years of effort, intention, love, everything I poured into our life, turned weightless? I replayed those words again and again for days. Still, I did what I always did. I tried harder. Weekend getaways, thoughtful notes, little surprises. Every attempt to pull her closer was met with indifference, a faint smile, a distracted thanks, a glance that slid right past me. And something inside me began to shift. I realized I was stretching myself thin for someone who wasn't stretching at all. Every unreturned effort chipped away at my own joy. I wasn't just tired. I was drained from hoping she'd warm up again, from trying to fill a gap she no longer wanted to close. So I stopped. Not out of anger. Not to punish her. Simply to protect what was left of me. No more grand gestures. No more bending myself into shapes she didn't even notice. I focused on existing, breathing, and showing up for myself first. That's when the ground beneath us shifted. The first evening after I pulled back, she noticed. She didn't say anything, but the difference was impossible to ignore. I wasn't hovering. I wasn't anticipating her needs. I wasn't chasing something that didn't want to be caught. The next morning, the air between us felt stiff and uncertain. She tried small talk. Weather, errands, nothing meaningful, but it sounded strained, forced. A week later, she finally confronted it. Sitting across from me, clutching her mug like she was afraid to drop it, she asked, "Ethan, why aren't you trying anymore?" I met her eyes without hesitation for the first time in years. I didn't defend myself. I didn't plead. I simply said, because I realized I was the only one who ever did. Her expression shifted. Confusion, frustration, realization, one after another. Then I saw something unexpected. Fear. Not fear of me, but fear of losing the comfort she had grown used to, the effort she had taken for granted. After that, her behavior changed. Small things at first. Bringing me coffee. Asking about my day without staring at her phone. Lingering near me like she wasn't sure how to bridge the gap she had ignored for years. But I didn't slip back into my old patterns. I didn't rush to ease her discomfort. For the first time I simply watched. She glanced at me more often. She hesitated before speaking. She moved differently, careful, aware. Without my constant effort, the imbalance between us became visible to her. One evening, sitting beside me on the couch, Mira finally whispered, "Do you even care anymore?" I took a breath, letting the truth settle. I said, "I care about myself enough now not to keep trying alone." She stiffened, shocked. She'd always expected me to hold our entire relationship together. But I wasn't doing that anymore. And now the silence between us showed her exactly how much I had carried. She began trying genuinely after that. Small apologies, gentle touches, efforts that once would have sent me scrambling to repair everything. But this time I stayed grounded. Balanced. And slowly, she began to see me clearly. Not as the person who would always pick up the emotional weight she dropped, but as someone who deserved effort too. Someone who had boundaries. Someone she had neglected without realizing it. One night she admitted softly, "I don't know what I want anymore. I just know I took what you gave for granted." I didn't rush to ease her guilt. I let the silence settle. I let her finally feel the reality she had ignored. And gradually she began to change. Not perfectly, not instantly, but sincerely. She noticed the patience I once offered freely, the steadiness I gave without ever asking for recognition, the loyalty I showed even when I felt unseen. We didn't magically become who we used to be. But we found something better: balance. She met me halfway. I stopped carrying her happiness alone. We built a new rhythm, not out of desperation or obligation but choice. Stepping back gave both of us clarity. I learned that love can't survive on one person's sacrifice. It needs respect, reciprocity, and awareness. And she learned that effort isn't guaranteed. It can disappear when taken for granted. Now, when I walk into our home, I still notice her smile, her small gestures, her attempts to stay connected. But I see them without the fear of losing her. Without the desperation to fix everything alone. For the first time in years, I feel like a true partner, not an invisible support beam. Sometimes love needs distance to be understood. And when one person stops chasing, you see clearly who is willing to walk toward you. I found peace in that clarity. And she found respect for the love she nearly lost.